Blitz, and welcome to Cartooning with Blitz. Here, take a look at this guy over here. Not a very pretty sight, I know that. He looks like a villain in a movie or a play, and that is what you call old and crotchety. But believe it or not, he once looked like this. Young and crotchety. The point is, even he started as a kid. And guess what? That's what we'll be doing today. Kid cartoons. That's right, we'll be kidding around. And for our feature of the day, you know the old story of Jack and the Beanstalk? Well, I'll show you a real neat way to illustrate that story and make it come alive. And for our doodle trick portion, another old story of Humpty Dumpty. And I've got a real cute chalk talk gag with a surprise ending. You don't want to miss that, so stay around. So if you're ready, all right, let's start kidding around. All right, our first subject today is going to be a baby. We'll start right at the beginning. And it's going to be a 3/4 view for the head. And I'm going to show you something now, how to get cartoon heads to look in different directions with my little friend here. You see that? Now you see the vertical and horizontal line just seems to be like a T when you look straight at it. But when you turn it sideways like that, you see that vertical line wraps around. See how it bends? Same thing with the horizontal line. You can look up, down, sideways, and that's because this is a three-dimensional object. And that's what you have to do when you draw it. I'll show you what I mean. Here, don't lose your head. It's too late for that. All right, let's start with a head that we're going to think of like that, a balloon or an egg. Now, I'll show you what I mean. First, we'll draw a circle. And we're going to wrap these guidelines around. Now, he's going to be looking here to the left and downwards. Now, I'm putting the guidelines down very low because when you draw a young character, you always want to have the features as low as you can near the chin line. And that's how you make characters look young. And I'll show you a demonstration in a moment. And I'll put some eyes and separate them. That also makes them look a little bit younger. Now, a baby is about 2 heads tall. Maybe even a little larger on the head, but that depends on your style of cartooning. This body here is going to be a teardrop. See how that works? And we'll have him crawling. So we'll put some lines here for his arms and some shapes for his hands. And for his legs, let's see, same thing. This way, some lines and a shape right there. And that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to ink this fella in. All right. Now we'll start with his nose. And again, I want to keep it down real low and delicate. And a smile, just like that with a puffy cheek. Now over here, make a puffy cheek, come right around and draw the ear. Also down low. Now, most of a baby's head is up top and very large like that. You see? Some eyes down here. And you can put some curly cues on it. Here's a bow. We'll make it a little girl baby. And some curly cues over here for some hair. Here, I like that. And for her arms. She's pretty cute. And for hands, short, stubby hands for a baby and no neck. Of course, that's what makes it work real well. Here's her back. And let's put a diaper on her. And for her leg. Well, this part here dictates to us where the ground line is. A little shadow in there. And we can't have it come down below that or it wouldn't make any sense. So we have to make the knee there and bend back. Just like that. Okay, and the same thing as we did with the hands. The toes are kind of short and stubby as well. And we can double that line for the other leg. And there it is. Let's put a heart in. And she's crawling towards something she loves. And we'll make a bottle. How's that? And a bottle is a great prop to do. And when you're drawing cartoon props, you want to just keep it as simple as possible. There's an expression called, it reads as a bottle. And what that really means is that the viewer can tell just what it is with just a few little lines. Now, what I'm going to do now is use my kneaded rubber eraser. I'm going to erase some of those pencil lines. Ink lines stay, pencil lines go, and you've got a finished cartoon. And I like a kneaded rubber eraser. It doesn't leave a lot of crumbs. You just maybe one little wipe off and it's gone. And put a little color in it. Now, sometimes you don't have to put a lot of color in your characters. In fact, I'm just going to put a little rosy cheek right there. Color in the hearts. And let's give her a red bow. And there you have it. Now I'd like to show you a little demonstration that I was talking about before about how to get your characters to look young and how important the chin line is. Now watch. See, I put that chin line right up there underneath his mouth, and that character could be about 3 or 4 years old, a little toddler. But watch what happens as I lower that chin line a little bit. He ages to about 6 or 7. If I keep going, 10, 11, maybe even a teenager as I go down this far here. Pretty cool, huh? Now watch, if I go back up, see how much younger he looks again? And the only thing that's moving is that chin line. Pretty cool, huh? All right, let's continue. And now the next sketch is, first it's time for the gag sketch of the day. And this one is a pun. Now, you take a look at that. That's right, it's a duck, and the duck does not look too happy. But I'd like to direct your attention to right over here. All right, you ready? Log onto the web. Log onto the web. There it is. And speaking of the web, you can visit me on the internet at bruceblitz.com. And you can see puns and cartooning tips and all kinds of neat things. All right, let's get started and do another sketch now. And let's draw a little girl. And we'll get a little bit older now. And this one will be 3 heads tall. And I'm going to start with 3 easy shapes. Now, I want you to follow along with me. It's very easy to do. There's a circle and a triangle. A little bit bent like that. And a rectangle just like that. And a shape for shoes. If you've got that, you've got it made. Put some lines for here, for her arm, and another circle for her hand. Now, you can't see the other arm, actually, so she'll be holding something, a little friend. I'll just put a couple circles, and we'll get to the friend in a moment. Now, right there, I'm putting her fingers, and you'll see that wrapping around what she's holding. Now, we're going to put a guideline. Now, this is going to be a side view. Now, her features, well, they can be up a little bit higher because she's older than the baby. And for her hair, let's give her bangs. And come around like this. And right to about her chin, I'll have it wrapping around. And some eyes. And I think right about now, I can switch to my marker and ink this in. All right, now what's first? You know what? I'm going to do her arm first because that is the closest thing to us, the viewer. And the reason for that is because it overlaps everything, and then we don't have to stop drawing. We can just keep drawing, and things that are behind it will get tucked behind. So you can't erase ink. Right, folks? And there's her hand. Now, cartoon hands are tricky, and in this case, the palms are facing inwards. She's holding something. So you look at your own hand, and that's how you get around that. So I'm always asked about how you figure out which way the hands are going. Now, in this case, her palms will be facing us, but it's being blocked by what she's holding. So the fingers will be wrapping around. Now, I'll show you what she's holding. A cute little kitty cat. Now, we do shows on cartoon animals. That's great fun. One of my favorite things to draw. And there's a little cat. And let's make a tail coming off this way. All right. Now let's draw her face. Let's give her a real small nose. And let's draw her facial outline. All right. Now smile. And a U shape for a puffy cheek. And here's her eyes, which are shut because she's happy. And she's smiling. And now we'll draw her hair. Now I'm going to switch to a bigger marker for her hair. And when you're drawing cartoon hair, you don't have to draw each strand. You just draw where it begins, like this, and up here where her bangs are, and some up here, and leave a lot of white space. And it indicates like dark hair with like a shine to it. I'll go back to the other marker. All right, now we're going to go over this triangle shape for her dress. Now what I do is I just wiggle that line a little bit, come back down, refine that shape just a little bit, and draw a line right here for her waist. See how those shapes helped us? And this was the rectangle shape. We're going to draw a line in the center and one right there, and this will be for her legs and feet. And there's her shoe and her other shoes over here. You know what? Let's give her saddle shoes. And right here, some socks. And these little lines here for detail. And for her knees, little squiggles like that. And a shadow. She's coming out very good. All right, let's put some color into this. I'm going to erase the pencil lines. There's all different kinds of art supplies you can use. You can use a kneaded rubber eraser, a pink eraser works fine, you know, the kind you have on tips of pencils. And to color it in, I'm going to use color pencils, my tuning pencils here. And I think color adds a lot of personality to your cartoons. It really makes them come to life a little bit. And when you color in, you don't have to worry about going right up to the line necessarily. All you have to do is add some color in different areas and leave those white spaces, because those white spaces are what create a highlight or a shine and create a little bit of interest to your pictures. Same thing down here. See? I'll leave a little bit of white. Let's see. You know what? Let's give her a check shirt. And just color in the blue for her skirt. All right, now for the kitten. Well, let me see. You know what? Will you make it a tiger cat with some stripes? All right. Maybe a little bit of yellow for the background. Maybe more brownish, actually. All right. Came out nice. I like that. Now let's do another character, a little bit older, maybe around 10 or 12, and that will mean we'll use 4 heads tall. She was 3 heads tall. We'll do a character 4 heads tall. And we'll have a boy skateboarding. It's a great action pose. Now that circle will represent his head. Now let's see, we'll use a squarish or a rectangle shape for his body. And let me see, 1 foot coming this way, 1 leg, that's a line, and a shape for his foot. And this leg comes back like it just kicked off the ground for some speed, and a shape for his other foot. Now his arms will be straight out like this, maybe for balance. And a circle there, and a circle there. All right, now I'll put the features for him right about there. We're going to have his head turned. Remember, we're going to think of it as a balloon or an egg, a 3-dimensional object, and wrap this vertical line around. See how it bends? That's how you get characters to look in different directions. Now I'm going to switch to my marker and draw his face. I'll start with that. And here's his nose. And for his eyes, let's see, we'll have his eyes wide open, looking at where he's going. His eyebrows are up. And a big smile. Good thing about sports poses is that the expression's built right in. In this case, he's happy, skateboarding. And right up here, we're going to put a helmet on his head. Now, when you do hats, you always want to make sure that it looks like it fits on the head. So you have to make it a lot larger than the head and then fit the head inside. In this case, his ear will be there. And let's put some hair in and some detail on the helmet. Now, we're going to define that circle that we started with. Give him a cheekbone, and then his chin comes down to here and around. Good. Now let's put a strap coming down from the top of the helmet. And how's this? A chin guard as well. And here's his neck. All right, now, here's why they call it a T-shirt, because it's a T, especially when the arms are stretched out like this. So we're just going to thicken up what we've already laid down. And here's his torso. All right, now we're going to draw his arms. Now, here's his forearm. Now, just like we did earlier, you want to taper at the wrist. And the best way to draw cartoon hands is to draw fingers on a circle. Now, there's a circle. Here's a thumb and 4 fingers. Now, if they look a little bit large, it's because he's wearing gloves. And these dots here indicate perforations for ventilation. Same thing over here. Now, I'm going to make this a little bit further out than that circle. And is it because I made a mistake? Yes. No. A little bit. But that's the purpose of the pencil stage. They're just guidelines. You can change. Now, when you go to ink, well, then you're kind of locked in, aren't you? All right. Now for his legs. Well, right where his knees would be, I'm going to put big circles, because they're going to be knee pads. And in this case, it helps us. Like I said, we put the shorts in, it helps us tell us where everything is. Now this leg's back, so let's put his calves in. And same thing up here. And some detail for his socks and for his shoes. Now, again, you want to make sure when you're drawing shoes that you put in the heel. A lot of people have tendency to just come straight down from the ankle and leave out the heel, and it doesn't look quite right. A little bit of tread underneath for traction. And some squiggly lines like this. Look at that. It looks like laces. Now, for the skateboard, it's just an elongated oval that's bent a little bit. Now, all objects in this world can be broken down to 4 basic forms. The sphere, which is a ball shape, the cone, the cube, and the cylinder. In this case, the wheels are cylinder shapes, which are tucked underneath the skateboard. See that? And a little shadow. And you can add as much detail later on. That's the kind of thing you can do when you have a lot of time. Some speed lines, some cartoon effects and accessories. We can never forget those. Some perspiration. Maybe his arms are waving around like that. Some more speed lines. And a little bit of color, because that's how good he came out. Add a little color to him. And color is good for so many things. Color helps to establish what mood you're in. If you use cool colors like blues and grays, kind of says that you're feeling maybe a little bit low that day. Let's give him a striped shirt. And how about some blue for his shorts? And you know what? I'm going to use some big strokes for the cartoon effects and accessories. Use my color sticks for red. Get some nice bold look to it. And let me see, some green maybe for the background. And there you have it. He's a cool skateboarder. And I'll play you some cool skateboarding music while you take a look at that sketch. And that's all the time we have right now for kidding around. Now, a good way to practice is to have your friends pose for you and you pose for your friends and draw each other. Now, a good way to learn how to draw in general is to get a hold of some books or videos. There's lots of them written on the subject. And if there's some classes being offered in your area, that's a good way to learn too, like maybe Saturday afternoon or maybe some evening classes. And of course, the time we get to spend together right here. Now, stay tuned for the feature of the day up next. Now, do you know the story of Jack and the beanstalk? Well, if not, I'll tell it to you right now. Now, Jack and his mother were very, very poor, and all they owned was a cow. So Jack's mother sent Jack to the marketplace to sell the cow so they can have money for food and clothing. But on the way to the marketplace, Jack meets up with a not-so-nice guy. And this man talks Jack into giving him the cow for a handful of so-called magical beans. Ha! So Jack takes the beans home, shows his mother. His mother gets very angry, takes the beans, and throws them out the window. Jack runs out to the garden to see the magical beans, and all of a sudden, look what happens. A beanstalk starts to grow right out of the garden, right up into the clouds. And Jack is so amazed, he looks down, he looks up, he looks back down, his head spins around. You get the idea. Now, I'll show you how to draw this neat effect. And it all starts with a picture of Jack. Now, you can use any kind of paper, but I'm using something a little bit stiffer, like a Bristol board. You could use poster board. Of course, it works a little bit better that way. So let's draw Jack. I'll put him down right here. All right. Now, I'm not going to draw his head. That's on a separate piece of paper, and I'll show you that in a moment. And we're going to draw his neck a little bit longer there, so it's got a little bit of extra line, and you'll see why that works in a moment, too. So let's draw his sleeve. And here's his arm, tapering to the wrist. And this hand here isn't holding anything. It isn't actually performing a function in this picture. So it's important to learn all kinds of hand positions. It's just kind of out there, isn't it? And here's his shirt. And this hand is peeking out the other side. The arm is tucked around the other side of his body. You can't see it, but this time the palms are facing us. There it is. Okay, now we're going to draw his legs. Now this shoe is the closest one to us, so I'll draw that first because it overlaps the other one. See, the other one just kind of peeks out. Now I'll put a little shadowing in like this, and I'll bring out this drawing already finished in, colored and done. All right, now right along the horizon line here, if you need someone to help you, have someone help you and get a knife, or you can use a scissors and cut a slit, just like that, and one right up top where it meets the sky, meets the clouds, like that. All right, you're ready to go. I even drew his little puppy dog there. Now, on a separate piece of paper, I drew a picture of Jack, just like that. And then I colored it in, and that will look like this, and then I cut it out right up to the black line. Now, that's very important. Now, on the other side, I taped some paper clips. Now, I used the metal kind. You don't want to use the plastic kind because you want to attract a magnet. And that's what I've got right here, and you can pick this up in an art store or a craft store. All right, now what you want to do is you can lay the head right on the paper like this, and on the other side, put the magnet, and it attracts, and you can manipulate the head simply by turning the magnet and twisting it. All right, now the next thing is I taped together two pieces of paper, and I drew a beanstalk. And I put it mostly on this one and left this one blank. That's it. Now we're going to thread this paper through those slits that we made, and then go through the top one where it meets the clouds. And here we go. There's Jack looking at the ground. When we slide it up, here it goes, all the way up, and right through the clouds. And of course, Jack can't believe it. He looks up, he looks down, and he climbs this beanstalk, and he defeats the evil giant that lives up there, and he steals the goose that lays the golden eggs, and they all have money for food and clothing and art supplies for cartooning. And they all live happily ever after, and they all stay tuned for Cartoon Doodle Tricks, which is up next. Welcome to today's Doodle Tricks, and I'd like to welcome my friends to stop by. Hi, guys.
Hi, Bruce.
Now, I've got a great trick cartoon lined up for you. But first, let's just warm up with an alphabet tune, and that is a finished cartoon from a letter in the alphabet. Now, we'll start with the letter P. Now, we're going to draw an elephant. Now, another word for an elephant is a pachyderm. So P will be for pachyderm. So we'll put some ears on this P, and some detail inside, and some eyes. Now, look what we've got. A cool pachyderm. We'll give him a smile right there, and some zany little hairs coming out, and there you have it. Like that?
Yes.
All right, now ready for this? Who knows the story of Humpty Dumpty? That's right. That's an old one. Okay, now let's start with Humpty Dumpty. Now, he was an egg shape, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. That's right. So let's start with an egg shape. Now let's draw his body. And let's see, let's draw his nose right here. And some eyes, and eyebrows, and let's give him some rosy cheeks. Yeah, and a smile, he's happy. And a big bow tie, floppy bow tie comes down this way and this way. Now, you all know the story, huh? Okay. It's an interesting story. Let's put his hands on his hips. And a big collar. And his ears. Now, my favorite part to draw is his hair. Now, watch this. Come out this way, some funny ones sticking up, some coming down, and a big one coming down, right down the center like that. All right, what else? Well, floppy feet. I think that'll work well. Now, the story goes, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty back together again. But don't worry, because it all turned out okay. He just got put back together in a little different way. He had a complete makeover and a whole new look. As a matter of fact, he ended up to be a very fine cook.
Whoa.
Hey, you like that, guys? Well, that's all the time we have for today, and I hope you've enjoyed it at home. And, of course, my friends right here in the studio. Now, for our tip of the day, your drawing might not turn out the way you planned. Guess what? It might turn out better. Look at hers. She's real happy. She's saying, it's better. I'm Bruce Blica saying, thanks for being with me, and help me out, everybody.
Keep on cartooning.
Keep on cartooning.